Hello, everybody, and welcome to Mariel Talks Pop. My name is Mariel Vasori, greeting you from Mexico City, and I'm here joined by a wonderful and amazing person, singer. I couldn't be more happy to have here Martin Rolinski from BWO, all the way from Stockholm, Sweden. Welcome, Martin.
Thank you, Mariel. It's a pleasure to be here talking with you today.
No, thank you for accepting. I was really surprised when I texted you and you replied so quickly, and I was like, okay, well, let's do this. So.
Why complicate things? I mean, if you have, if I've seen some of your posts and I think they're lovely. So I thought to myself that would be a lovely conversation to have and talk about
Oh,
both the past, the present, and the future.
yes, it's going to be real fun. I had the pleasure to talk to Tess Merkel about 3 years ago, and now that
Yeah.
you guys are working together, it's great to see you guys doing something like between Alcazar and BWO, which are two of my favorite groups ever. So it's awesome. I wish I could live in Sweden so I could go see you. It would be a pleasure.
Yeah, maybe we'll try to make it somewhere in Mexico or somewhere near there, or you just have to come somewhere in Europe. We're having so much fun together.
Oh, I
It's
bet.
it's one of the best experiences I've had on stage. I've had some time away from the stage for various reasons, but we found each other like a year ago, and we have developed this concept together, and it's really fun, and it's a really good thing. Standing on stage together with her, with our combined catalogs, it's really fun.
I bet. I bet. We will get there. But first, I want to go back, because now that I've been reading about you, I had no idea that you auditioned for Pop Stars back in 2002 for the second
Yeah.
season, which was the Supernatural was the winner of that.
No, actually, it was the season afterwards. It was the third season. So the first two seasons, it was that they
Oh,
were looking for. I think it was like an Australian format that they picked up in Sweden, the Pop Stars, and
hmm.
I think the two first seasons were really successful in Sweden, and the third season, when I was there, was a complete bust because they had a low budget and they
Oh.
wanted to find a solo artist. So I think for me, it just turned out pretty well. But that was yeah, that was where it started.
Well, I had no idea there was a third season. I always thought it was two, the one with Excellence and the second with Supernatural. I thought that you auditioned to be in
Yeah.
Supernatural. But well,
No
things
no one
happen.
remembers the third season anyway, so it's just
Oh,
because
oh,
it was
okay, okay.
such a bust. Yeah.
So, well, things happen for a reason because you got to be in one of Sweden's most popular groups ever. So, well,
Yeah, it was an
but
interesting journey, you have to say.
I read that you made a bet with a friend that you were going to audition for the Popstars series.
Yeah, I would say it was more of a drunken wager. I was studying to get a master's degree in engineering, and for some reason, I kind of hustled my way into telling people I could sing, although I didn't even know that I could do so in like a college, concert type of thing. And then afterwards, some other friends of mine had a drunken wager that I wouldn't dare to to submit myself to being in a competition like that. Little did they know that I actually could sing. So yeah, I mean that was the first time my parents saw me singing. It was on TV. So
Wow.
it was one of those things where you thought it sounded well when you sang in the shower, and apparently other people thought so as well. And that was my way into the music industry.
Wow. Well, that's very interesting. And how was the experience being during the show of Popstars?
I
Was it only boys
No, no, no.
or mixed?
It was mixed. The show concept was sort of like Idol before Idol,
Mm-hmm.
when I was there. So I think it started off really well, and it was really fun discovering that you could sing. But then it was kind of stressful because um, we kind of didn't have the best preparations and all of those things, and I kind of started understanding what it meant, becoming an
Mm-hmm.
artist. So overall, it was an amazing experience that was during 6 months or so.
Mm.
And it was during the show where I got to learn. I got to meet Anders Hansson, who
Mm-hmm.
is like Alexander Bard's right hand in terms of music making. So Anders was a part of both Army of Lovers, Vacuum, also Alcazar and BDO. So we got to know each other and we liked each other.
Mm-hmm.
And then after the show, I thought that I still have 6 months on my sabbatical from college.
Mm-hmm.
So the plan was to try to maybe find somewhere to stay in Stockholm, because I lived in Gothenburg, which is in the other side of Sweden, and just see what happens with the music career. And I got in contact with Anders, who tried to convince Alexander Bard that he should contact me, because they were trying to form a band which had a very strange name.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and he didn't want to contact me because he thought I was too young. And I was a bit reluctant, because I thought it was like an Army of Lovers too, which I didn't feel was the right thing for me. But after a very confused phone message he left on my mother's phone, Alexander, we end up meeting, and we really hit it off, became good friends, and together with Marina, we formed Bodies Without Organs.
Wow. I mean, it all happened so quickly.
Yeah.
And well, I know Alexander Bard is like, well, a genius when it comes in music. In terms of music, he's a mastermind. I love all his productions. And well, like you mentioned, you thought it was going to be like an Army of Lovers at first, but then it turned out to be completely different. But at the
Yeah.
same time, it's really, how to say, like extravagant. All the work you guys did on Bodies Without Organs.
Yeah, I mean, the funny thing is, Tess and I started talking about it because we're kind of shaped. Both bands are shaped in the same musical family, so to speak,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that the term we've decided to call it is glamour pop.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
that's what we're doing, pop, pop with glamour to it, because I think that's what it's all about. It's about creating really good pop music that just comes from the heart, and is all about making strong melodies that go right into the heart of people. That's what we're trying to do. It's never
Yes.
about being cool. It's just about the result of the music and submitting yourself to it. And then of course there are a lot of things that we picked up around the way, but that's always been the goal. Always have the song as your number one mission.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yes, of course.
Yeah.
And what calls my attention on Bodies Without Organs is that you were the youngest member of the three, because I know both Marina and Alexander are a bit more older than you. So, how was it for you to blend with two people that already had like big careers? Because I know Marina was
Yeah.
in Vacuum, and Alexander with um, Army of Lovers. So, how was it for
Yeah.
you as a beginner in this?
Yeah, that is a very, very, very good question. I mean, of course, I was a bit nervous. I was completely, a rookie. So I really didn't know what to expect. But I think looking back on it today, it was a very good experience, because I really got to learn a lot about the music industry from people who knew how it worked,
Mm-hmm.
which has helped me along the way in not just working within the music industry as an artist, but also a lot of other things that I've done, which we can talk about.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, it was a very educative experience, both as an artist, but also what it means working in the music industry and seeing it from various perspectives.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, we we weren't the band that was touring around, drinking a lot, and just behaving like whatever you might imagine. It was quite professional. We had a good time. We had a lot of interesting conversations. Two very intellectual persons who I learned a lot from.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, it was a very fast lane into really understanding how the whole music industry works from the inside out.
Wow, I bet, because you were like 23, 24 when you began with them.
2021 actually.
Oh
So
wow.
yeah, so I was just like a young pup. I had just met my wife.
Mm-hmm.
So everything was really new. And yeah, I mean, we met in 2003. And I think we released the first album in 2004. You know, we had to record everything, try to get a record deal, which actually wasn't that easy, because the whole purpose of the band was being the first band who wrote their entire music on laptops, which today is you know what everyone does, but back in the
More
days that
common.
wasn't too
Yeah.
obvious. But also the whole concept of the gay person being the one behind the machinery, the straight person being in front of the camera, the female person not being the one singing, one younger person, two older persons. We just tried to go against all the norms of what you could envision a pop band being, which was totally on purpose. But it also kind of twisted the minds of a lot of record label people who might have been, one-sided to thinking what a pop band should be. And I think that was one of our strengths, that we had that way of seeing things and being different in many ways. I think that was our biggest strength. Three intellectual people who had a lot of ideas, a lot of experience, not to mention Marina, one of the Nordic's most successful art dealers, and Alexander with everything he's done. So we were really different, and it intimidated people sometimes. I also discovered, actually, because we were quite outspoken as well.
That's very interesting to see that a band that was actually, it always called my attention when I first discovered BWO, because I was like, there's a girl, but she doesn't sing. There's only this guy singing, and usually when it comes to mixed bands, everybody sings. But in this case, you were the main singer, and that always called my attention, and that's what I wanted to ask you, and now you answered me. And that's what made you guys different, because Alcazar had a very similar style with what's Andreas is the name of the main singer of Alcazar.
So it was, well, actually Alcazar was a bit different, because Alcazar started with Alexander meeting Andreas and telling Andreas that you should form a band with two good friends of yours, female friends, who can dance and sing together with you, where you can sing in harmony, where you usually have the lead, but not always. And they were all show persons who worked in different types of shows in Sweden. So they had everything, set to every detail in the choreography and everything. So it was a great concept from the beginning. And I've heard all the stories from Tess now as well, of course, as you might as well.
Yes.
So I think his strength was finding a very strong concept behind forming a band, and I think that's something people underestimate. That if you want to create a band, you have to think about not just being four persons standing on stage. What is the idea, and what is the concept of us standing on this stage together? What sets us apart? What makes us different? What makes us interesting? And if you can't answer that question, then I think you have to go back to the drawing board in how you're supposed to form the band.
And that's why I think a lot of bands don't make it that far, because they don't find like that difference that you're mentioning.
Yeah.
And you guys made it like for a long time. Your first album got released in 2004, 2005.
Yeah.
And then you guys released 4 more albums, including the greatest hits. So
we were extremely productive.
Yeah. So tell me, did you get to write any of the songs, or all the work was done by Alexander?
No, we actually have had a very good cooperation, which just got better and better. Usually, Alexander, he has a very strong vision of what type of music he wants to create, and it's not that much. He doesn't work in the way that he's jamming and something comes out. He has a strong idea about chord sequences and references to what he wants to create. So it's very precise when he and Anders starts working on it. And quite early on, they either take in Marine or me, depending on the song type, and we start working on the lyrics. And then what we discovered with BVO was that a big part of the sound was my voice, because my voice is a pop voice that works very well when you're putting a lot of layers on it. So usually you have like between 10 to 30 Martins singing at once, basically.
Wow.
And that was a part of the process, in terms of, okay, we have a lead, and then Anders and I started creating the dubs, the overdubs, the harmonies, and really creating a wall of sound. And that's sort of what became the idea behind
Mm-hmm.
BVO, apart, of course, from the great songwriting. So that was like the process of having an early song, putting in the lyrics, and then creating that production, which made me Anders and I did.
Wow.
So yeah, so that was really fun and extremely rewarding, working in that way.
I bet it was because I know working with all this, like you mentioned, these layers and stuff, but it made you sound so natural. I mean, I have always found Bodies Without Organs like a very natural group, even when it comes to
Yeah,
using a lot of laptops and stuff.
yeah,
You guys sounded not synthesized. I don't know if
I
that's the
understand
word.
what you mean. Yeah, yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
so it really sounded great. And now tell me about the first album, Prototype, which is my favorite from you guys. It spawned a lot of singles. All of them were top
Yeah,
20. So
I would
it
say
o-
it was our most successful album for sure.
it opened the doors for you, not only in Sweden, but you guys made it to Russia, which I know you guys were very popular over there, Hungary, even
Yeah,
Lebanon.
yeah. I mean, the album actually broke abroad before we broke in Sweden. So that was a lot of fun. I remember like the first song we recorded was a song called "Living in a Fantasy,"
One of my
which
favorites.
was, yeah, it was a big hit. And I remember like the first studio session we had, which kind of still felt like an audition where I was supposed to sing it, and I was really nervous, and it didn't quite feel good. And so we just said, okay, let's try it in a week and see if it works. And then I just nailed it, and okay, now we know that we have something. And then we wrote "Conquering America," "16 Tons of Hardware," all those songs like in a week or so. Um,
Wow.
so that was really fun. And I remember we felt that we needed one more single, and then we had a song called "Sunshine in the Rain" that we added in the last minute of that album as well.
Hmm.
So yeah, I think that was an album where we really went for the like electro origin of whether it's Eurythmics or Eurasia or ELO. That was some of the references that we had when we were working with
Hmm.
that album. um, and that I think in many ways that was maybe one of our best albums because it was just so pure. We weren't thinking too much about the Eurovision and other things like that. We just made the songs because we love the song. So in many ways, that's still my favorite album. Of course, other albums and other songs that I appreciate, but I would say that was our best album. And just like that, we broke in Russia, in the Ukraine, and all of those. And I remember like the first concert we had abroad, completely bizarre, was like in Kharkiv in the Ukraine. I
Hmm.
mean, let's not go into how horrible things are there right now, but I remember standing on like a stage with maybe 10,000 people in the audience, live concert with songs that I've barely sung live. It was completely bizarre as my first concert, but yeah.
Wow.
So there are a lot of strong memories from that period of my life.
Yeah, Prototype is definitely my favorite too. And to this day, I think, and I stand with it, that Sunshine in the Rain is one of the best pop songs ever written
Thank you,
from the
Mariel. Yeah,
21st century. From the 21st century, because it's wonderful. That's the first song I heard from you guys, and I fell in love with it
yeah.
immediately. And also, one thing I really love about you guys is how original you guys were on your videos. Because I know living in a fantasy was like more like, oh, show yourselves, and not
Yeah,
much.
we just needed to get a video out there, but Sunshine and the Rain and those type of then we started having fun
Yeah, very
doing the
creative.
videos. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Did you guys put all the ideas together, or the three of you?
Yeah, I mean it was a producer who came like with a basis for an idea, and then we just started twisting those ideas into whatever it could be, whether it was patching people's faces or having holes in their hands. I mean, remember CGI at that time on music videos wasn't what it is today, but we did our best. Yeah, so it was a lot of fun. And speaking of Sunshine in the Rain, I would say that I think that's one of the best lyrics we've had. I really love the lyrics behind the song
It's
because
beautiful.
at the end of the day, it is a love song about having long distance relationships,
Mm-hmm.
basically,
Mm-hmm.
which was something we all experienced at the time. So that was really written from the heart.
Yes, that was what I was gonna tell you, because you were on tour, and you tell me you met your wife back then.
Yeah,
Uh, so I think you totally relate to that song when you were abroad and you had
yeah,
to leave your then girlfriend, or so
yeah,
I totally understand. And the following albums, Halcyon Days, am I pronouncing it correctly?
yeah.
Halcyon
Halcyon
Days,
Days, yes.
Fabricator, and you guys have like huge songs over there too. Then you began also participating in the, let me know if I'm pronouncing it correctly, because I know it's Swedish, Melodifestivalen.
I think that sounds like a great pronunciation, Mariel. 10 out of
Oh,
10.
okay, perfect. You guys were there like 4 times.
Yeah, 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 that's right. Yeah, I was just about to correct you and say that it was fewer times, but then I started thinking, no, it was actually 4 times. And then I participated once as a solo artist as well. So
Yes.
yeah, so I've been 5 times, whereas four with Bars Without Organs. That is correct. Yeah.
You should have won when you guys sang Temple of Love. You guys ended up second, right?
Yeah, yeah, but then you had like the Swedish Melodifestivalen goddess Carola, who's difficult to
Carola.
beat in Sweden. Yeah, but it was a good song. Um, I think I think we had good numbers. I mean, the first song that we did, Gone, was a song that
Hmm.
originally wasn't written for the album. It just because a jury picked it up somewhere and we got an opportunity and we thought, why not? But I
Hmm.
would say Temple of Love was the first time we participated where we really took it seriously.
Hmm.
Lay Your Love on Me was also a big hit and a great song. And I think that there was a ballad called You're Not Alone, which
You're
I
not
think
alone.
was,
Hmm.
yeah, it was kind of, I think it was a good song. A really strong song, which was kind of different, but yeah, I haven't
How
heard it for quite a while, actually. Yeah.
how many people participate in this festival? Because I have never seen it because it's only aired in Europe. But
Yeah.
are there like many artists? How's the process of selection? I have no idea.
Well, I think that there are like thousands of songs that are being submitted.
Wow.
Because the format is that it's a battle of melody. So a lot of songwriters send in, like, I think it's like several thousands of songs, and then
Mm-hmm.
some of them make it, and then they put artists to the songs where we submitted our song. So and then it's like a series with like 5 or 6 shows where you have like 30, 40 artists or something like that are participating in semifinals, and then you have the main final with 10 to 12 acts in that. So it is by far the biggest show in Sweden, Melodifestivalen. It's like 90% of everyone who watches TV are watching that show, so it's
Wow.
insanely huge. Yeah.
The winner gets to go to the Eurovision, right?
Yes, yes, the winner gets to go to the Eurovision, and they also get to have a big hit, and it helps them, throughout the year. But in a way, it also sometimes can become that big that for us, we were kind of in a situation where we actually did have an international career and we were touring, but the Melodifestivalen gave us so much attention in Sweden that it kind
Mm-hmm.
of took away our focus on on the album, on making it work better abroad, and just focus too much on the Melodifestivalen, and not looking at it from, like, in hindsight.
Mm-hmm.
But nevertheless, it was a show which was a great experience, and it's really fun to participate in because it's I don't think you have a better production for a music contest in Europe than actually
Mm-hmm.
what they managed to do. It really is a great show, and it's really fun to participate in it because the production is amazing, the audience is great, so it's really fun to take part in it.
Well, it was so huge that Temple of Love was like one of the best selling songs of 2006.
Yeah,
Am I
yeah,
right? Yeah, 2006,
yeah,
and
yeah,
it was a huge hit. So it really opened the doors even more for you
yeah,
guys.
definitely,
So
definitely.
it's great. And now tell me, which one of all the albums from BWO? You told me already that it's Prototype, but is that your
That's number
favorite,
one.
or how would you rank them?
Well, I would say the albums we have were just to we had. I'm not counting the greatest hits one because it's a compilation album. So
Mm-hmm.
it's Prototype, Halcyon Days, Fabricator, and then we had one last that was called Big Science.
Big science. Mm-hmm.
Uh, I would definitely set Prototype as the best album for many reasons. I don't think we really had that Fabricator was that good. I think we were a bit confused when we did that. So
Mm-hmm.
I would say it's a tie between Big Science and Halcyon Days, where maybe Halcyon Days gets so it's I would say Halcyon Days second place, Big Science third place, and Fabricator is maybe my least favorite album,
Your
to
least
kind of put it
favorite.
that way. Yeah, yeah.
Which songs would you recommend to people that has never heard of the group? Like, which 5 songs would you say, please listen to this so you get to know us better?
Um, so I mean, I think that uh, "Sunshine in the Rain" is a good song to understand us. I would also say that, I mean, a song like "Open Door" is a quite good
Mm-hmm.
and interesting
Mm-hmm.
song as well. 16 Tons of Hardware, maybe. "Chariots of Fire" was
Mm-hmm.
also is one of the best songs to perform live.
Mm-hmm.
um, and maybe "Temple of Love" or "Lay Your Love on Me." Yeah,
Okay, we can agree
yeah,
on some. Yeah, I love
yeah.
Voodoo Magic. I love it also.
That is also a very good song. I mean, it's very difficult to. I mean, we have some songs that are like in the electro area with
Mm-hmm.
Voodoo Magic, 16 Tons of Hardware, Conquering America, which are like more in that voodoo direction. I think "Living in a Fantasy" is a very underrated song as well.
Mm-hmm.
"Sunshine and Rain." So a lot of them, as you hear, are from the Prototype album. But then, of course, I like a song called "We Could Be Heroes," like
Mm-hmm.
a really like a nice ballad with "Temple of Love" and "Chariots of Fire." And then "The Destiny of Love" is a pretty nice song from Big Science as well. "Right Here, Right Now"
Mm-hmm.
is also a very nice song from the big. So yeah, there are some to pick from. We are quite
It's a
blessed with
huge
that. Yeah,
catalog. It's a huge catalog. And question, because I
yeah.
always ask this to international singers that don't speak that English is not their native language. Why singing in English, and why did you never, or at least I don't know if you ever performed in Swedish?
That's a very good question. I mean, well, first of all, Swedes are quite uh, comfortable speaking and singing in English because,
Mm-hmm.
like in Mexico, I think English is quite a common language. We have it, I spoke English fluently from the time I was 6 because I watched too much TV. So
Mm-hmm.
so it's a relatively comfortable language for us, and it's a language that you need to have if you want to make it abroad as well, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Also, when you write songs like song lyrics in English, it's quite easy because the language is constructed in a way where you can bend the words in a lot more ways than you can do in other languages.
Mm-hmm.
So you can do abbreviations, and you can do you are, those type of things, which gives you a
Mm-hmm.
lot of freeway. Plus that um, you can you can sound relatively banal in English and you get away with it, but you don't get away with it in your native language
Yes,
usually,
I
right?
get it. I get it.
So
Yeah.
so so it's the language for international songs. It's a language we're comfortable with, and it's a language that's easier to write lyrics to. For me, it's a lot more easy to write song lyrics in English than in Swedish. I have
Mm-hmm.
actually done a couple of songs in Swedish. I did a little solo project where I did 2 or 3 songs in Swedish, which was quite fun.
Mm-hmm.
But when I'm working with music in the way that I have done and I'm doing right now, I prefer to do it in English.
I love that about Swedish singers because I know and I totally think that a lot of my followers will agree that Sweden has the best pop singers. I mean, pop music in Sweden is amazing. You guys have like a ton of artists that are
I think,
super
yeah,
popular.
I, I think we have a lot of artists, but I think our biggest strength is in the songwriters and the producers.
I agree.
I mean, we have at least according to me, and I would arguably say that Max Martin is the biggest songwriter in the world for the last 25 years.
Of
But we
course.
have a lot of others as well, and I think it's a combination of many things why music has become important and why it is a big part of the Swedish culture. I think
Hmm.
one part of it is because technology is very important within music for the last 20, 25 years,
Hmm.
which is something I've been working a lot with technology innovation within music. So that
Hmm.
is, I mean, the whole success behind Cheiron with Max Martin and Dennis Pop and all of those things. What was that they started working with programs before in a deeper way before anyone else did, and that created the sound that made them so successful. So that was
Hmm.
partly not just because they were talented; they were working with more high tech programs, if I may put it that way. The other part of it is that in Sweden we have something called the School of Culture,
Hmm.
which is to an extent subsidized and makes it more affordable for everyone to take part in learning how to play instruments and sing.
Hmm. Hmm.
I think there's a something from South America called El Sistema. I don't know if you've heard about that, which is something created by someone called Gustavo Dudamel. I don't know if he's from Venezuela or where he's from, but I think
Hmm.
I think we have to think about those type of actions that are important so that children can start to learn how to sing and play instruments.
It is
Uh,
really important.
yeah, so that is a part of the Swedish music wonder, as people call it. So sorry for getting into those details, but that is a
No.
something that is very important for me to talk about because I think that that's behind the success for everyone working with music. It's to be interested in technology and learning the basics as soon as possible.
Yeah, and like you mentioned, good songwriting, good voices. Because every time somebody
Yeah,
asks me, which country do you think has the best pop music? I always say Sweden, because I know it is filled with great
yeah.
artists. So,
Per
um,
capita, definitely, I would say so. Yes.
yeah, I mean, I sometimes I talk about these Swedish artists, and in here in Mexico, it's a little difficult when it comes to accepting pop music because people
Yeah.
are more focused on these new genres of reggaeton and which I don't like.
Yeah.
So,
but 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 it is quite interesting to see that like over the last couple of years, I would say the two biggest trends looking at what music is becoming more and more popular, it is music from South America that is starting
yeah,
to dominate the tracks more and more on Spotify, which I really find interesting and fun to see. We can have a discussion about the genres, but nevertheless, it is a part of the world that is really becoming a dominant within the music industry. But also, uh, country is becoming more and more popular, which is about
yeah,
two things: melodies and lyrics, which is what I think is
mhm,
very important. So
definitely.
yeah.
And are you still in touch with Alexander and Marina?
Funny you should ask. Um, let's just say that the final chapter on BVO or Bodies Without Organs is not written yet.
Oh, okay.
So there are some very exciting things on the horizon.
Oh
We're
God.
yeah, yeah. Tess and I we are working on BVO versus Alcazar, but we see that as a beginning of something a bit bigger because we we see as a part of a bigger family.
Hmm.
So all I can say is that Anders Hansson and Alexander and I and Marine as well, we're having a lot of fun right now. More
Oh,
than that, more than that, I can't say.
oh my God, that's great news. I mean, I would love to see you guys coming back, probably a new album. I mean, like I told you, it is a bit difficult for me to go to Europe to catch you guys on tour, but nowadays with
Yeah,
internet, it's so easy to see videos and stuff. So
it is. It is.
I feel like I'm there. And now tell us about this with Tess Merkel.
Yeah,
How
I
did
mean,
it begin?
yeah, I mean, I've been on an interesting journey myself after Bodies Without Organs. I started working creating music services for telcos in the
Hmm.
Nordics, working a lot with creating both with technology and music rights and those stuff. I I started a company that was a music service for choirs and stuff like that. So I was away from the music.
Mm-hmm.
And after a while, I kind of got lost in that because I felt that there was something missing in my life. And what was missing was music.
Mm-hmm.
So I sold off some of the companies I started and felt that I needed something new. And then by just a coincidence, Tess and I was asked like, would you like to be a part of a Christmas show for a thing? And I hadn't stand, I haven't taken part in anything musically as an artist for like over 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought, why not? Let's get in shape, let's lose a lot of pounds and become a really good artist again. And then I met up with Tess, and we
Mm-hmm.
just clicked because we discovered that we're formed from the same musical identity.
Mm-hmm.
We love standing on stage together. We have fun together. We love singing together, and we have the same ideas. She's an amazing producer as well, to live producer, like what's happening on stage and all of those
Mm-hmm.
things. And for me, I discovered that I loved singing the Alcazar catalog as well. It really fitted me well. So we started experimenting and seeing what we could do, and we started talking with our friends both from Alcazar and from Bodies Without Organs, and we said, let's do this concept. Let's do BVO versus Alcazar, which is what we've done, and it's going really well. We have a lot of people, lot of interest in people booking us, and we are starting to work in the studio with the song together. So
Mm-hmm.
we're just having fun with it, and
Oh,
that's what
wow.
I'm trying to do. Working with
Mm-hmm.
people I've enjoyed working with, and it's both Tess, it's Anders, it's Alexander. So I'm having more fun with music. I'm having a lot more fun now than I did, back in the days, because I know what I'm doing, and I know why I want to do it as well.
Because you have matured.
Yeah,
You have so it makes sense because you were so young when you began. You were doing what people were telling you to do, and
yeah,
now you are more like, okay, I'm older, I'm wiser, so I can make my own decisions and you know take my career this path or
yeah,
this path.
yeah.
So totally
And
makes
also,
sense.
I'm a hell of a lot better. I mean, vocally, and I, I I feel a lot more secure with what I'm doing. Yeah. I'm really having the time of my life in terms of the whole thing, everything from taking care of myself to standing on stage and creating new music. So there's a lot of exciting things to come
Mm-hmm.
over the next coming months. Some information will come out in a couple of months, and some information will come in an additional couple of months. But
Wow.
there's a lot of exciting news coming around the corner.
So 2025 is the year for you, Martin.
2025, 2026. So we have a
Oh,
long list of
great.
things. So it's really fun. Yeah.
What is your favorite song by Alcazar to perform?
Oh, that's a very good question. I mean, I love singing a lot of the songs, but I think one song that is really fun to perform, where the audience really becomes like crazy and really suits me, is a song called Stay the Night.
Yes, from their album
Uh,
Disco Defenders.
Yes, yes. And I mean, Crying at the Discotheque is a great song to sing. Sinner nor a Saint as well. So, it's quite fun because we've come to the point where I almost enjoy singing the Alcazar catalog more on stage, and Tess enjoys singing the BBO catalog because it's fun to,
It's
to do a
different. It's
switcher.
yeah.
Yeah. But
Uh,
it's really fun to have a mixture of the both. Yeah.
I oh my god, I would love to see you guys. And I mean, you guys have great catalogs. I wouldn't know which songs to choose for a
Yeah,
concert.
we have like a luxury problem that we like have to remove songs that are like genuine hits, and it's really fun.
Mhm.
So it's a show where we try to interact with the audience a lot,
Mhm.
and try to create a dance floor where we're having like where we're instructing them on what to do and stuff like that. The good thing about us is that we're experienced, we're having fun, we know what we're doing, and together I think we have the ability to interact with the audience in a way that is maybe a bit more difficult when you're a young artist and and you're just focusing on performing your songs.
Yes.
And we have the luxury of being comfortable in us as performers, so we can take it to the next level and also start to interact with the audience, which we have a setup for. And it's really fun when you get that click, you know.
I was gonna
So
get there, yeah. I was
yeah.
gonna get to the fans because I mean it's been over 20 years now since you began.
Oh my God.
There's people. Yeah, I know. I don't want to talk about years because where does time go? I know. But how about the relationship with your fans? The hardcore fans that are still there. How does
I
it make you
mean,
feel?
uh, it's almost a bit emotional talking about it, because I mean, here's the thing. When we started performing, to be really honest, I didn't work that hard for the success I gained with BBO as I know other artists did, to be very, very honest. And I'm very aware of that, because what I did was that I was lucky and I had some talent, which you need both things is what you need to have. And I gained success very quickly.
Mm-hmm.
And I appreciated the fans, but I didn't understand how hard you had to work and how much of a difference we did to fans. So as we moved along and I understood the implications we did for some people and how much they loved us, that started moving me more and more the more I got into it.
Mm-hmm.
And looking back at it now and talking with them now and getting to know them, it's something that has really moved me in many ways, because hearing people say what we meant to them and what we mean to them even to this day is something that makes me really proud and also humble, and also gives me a lot of motivation to why I want to continue with this and stand on stage, meet them, talk to fans, and just be humble and gracious to the fact that they appreciate what we've done, and that it's a big part of their lives. It's something I couldn't quite comprehend when I was younger,
Yeah.
but something that I've through the years, I think I've started to understand a lot more, especially since I have kids on my own, and I
Mm-hmm.
see the importance of music to them as well. So for me to understand that like we had a gig this weekend, and there were people there who showed me pictures and everything, and you just become so humble and so gracious for the love that you
Mm-hmm.
get from them, and you understand that is one of the greatest things of creating music that people listen to and love, actually.
It's still
So
here.
yeah, yeah,
It remains here. I
yeah.
mean, I'm not Swedish, I'm not European. I was born here in Mexico, but I have always been interested in discovering new artists. I mean, not staying here, like
Hmm.
going
Hmm.
abroad. So
Yeah.
that's how I discovered you guys. And when I discovered you, I was like 17, 18 years old. And ever since, I'm like, yeah, they don't have to be from my own country to for me to like them,
Yeah.
because a lot of people in here are like very national. Like I only love
Yeah.
artists from my own country or Americans because we are the neighboring country to them. But I like going beyond, and I think going beyond makes you discover amazing singers like you guys.
Yeah.
So I'm really
and and
thankful for
and
that.
that's so much cooler, Marielle, because it's people like you who actually are a part of spreading music and making music international, and giving chances to artists who might not be like pushed by the biggest record companies, but just make great music and just want to meet fans, and that's when people like you are so extremely important for those types of artists. So kudos for you for doing what you're doing.
No, I am really thankful that I have been having the chance to interview artists like you, like Tess, that people don't know around here. And I'm like, what a shame that you don't, because you are missing a lot.
uh,
So I really appreciate you saying yes to this interview and
yeah,
and this talk. And now you tell me you have kids. You have two daughters, right?
that's correct. Yes.
What did they think about you when they have? I bet they have seen your videos when you began with Bodies Without Organs. What did they think about their dad being quite a pop star?
It is of course a bit. They can't relate to it in that way because it's a bit strange watching, this younger guy doing strange things in a music video.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but I would say that they've been very important for me in the stage where I am right now,
Mm-hmm.
because they're a big reason to why I actually decided to go back to music,
Mm-hmm.
because they started understanding that this was a big part of who I am and what I should do. So to a big degree was them saying, Dad, we think you should actually start working with music again.
Mm-hmm. The
Um,
great thing,
uh,
support.
yeah. So getting that support and getting that push was actually one of the main reasons, if not the main reason, to me to actually, standing on the edge and actually taking the leap to do this.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm very grateful for it today.
That's great. And how about your wife? How does she feel having a husband pop star?
Well, she think it's quite fun that he's back, because he's lost like 18 kilos, getting in shape again, and exercising and all of those things. So I think she's happy because she sees that I'm happy, and she's always been both my biggest fan but also my biggest critic. So if anything is the slightest, an error or something, she's the first one to discover it and tell me what I need to do better, which is great.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I have my biggest fans and my biggest critics right here at home.
And yeah, definitely. But that's great. That's
It
great that
is.
they
It is. It is.
admire your music and that they let you know what you're doing good and what you're not. So
Exactly.
it's challenging for you too. So that's
Trust
great.
me, it's very humbling to being a part of getting their critique. So it's impossible to get a big head in here.
I bet. Yeah.
Uh,
Well, now I make these questions always to all of my guests. Some find it easy to answer. Some take a bit of time to think about them. But I want
okay.
to ask you about your influences. So, who is your biggest, your favorite female singer?
My favorite female singer.
Yes.
Um, well, I think there are different types of singers. I think that Pink is an amazing singer because of the
Mm-hmm.
the type of voice that she has, that is really like a strong pop voice.
Mm-hmm.
I think that, someone that I really love her pop voice is Ava Max. I think she has a
Oh yeah.
very
Mm-hmm.
interesting pop voice as well.
Mm-hmm.
But if we're going back in time and we Heart, amazing duo with amazing singers as well. Um, Marie Fredriksson, the late Marie Fredriksson from Roxette, amazing voice as well.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Agneta Fältskog. Um, there's actually an interesting anecdote that Alexander told me about Agneta Fältskog from ABBA.
Mm-hmm.
When he was like a music technician and was going to be a part of her singing in a song, and she was like tweaking the key to the song, going up, going down, which key am I going to sing it in, for like an hour.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone like, what's going on? And when she finally found the perfect key and the way to sing it, she nailed it in like 2 takes.
Wow.
So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, so she is definitely one of those. Wow, there's so many. You can say like the big voices, but I'm kind of more of a person who loves the tonality of a voice more than the technique behind it, you know.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, they are some of the female voices that I love to hear. But for
Mm-hmm.
me, it's more about the male voices because I can relate to them in a different way, of course.
That's where I was going. Who is your
Yeah,
favorite? Who are your favorite male singers?
that's a complicated question because you have the male voices who have shaped me and my voice and who I love to sing to, who aren't necessarily musically aligned with what I'm doing today. But
Mm-hmm.
you have the obvious, uh, you know, uh, if you're asking me who is the greatest male vocalist artist of all time, my answer is of course Freddie Mercury, for various reasons, and that is because you can find a direct lineage between the way he is and a lot of other artists are, and they are looking up to him. So it's details about how he sang certain songs and the way he sang it that are completely breathtaking. Then of course you have because I'm a high tenor, so I like I take quite high notes, you know. So you look at guys like Robert Plant from Led Zeppelin, who was amazing. You have Stevie Tyler, who also are extremely great. But also you have someone like Darren Hayes from Savage Garden, who had a lovely pop
No.
voice,
Yes,
for
I agree.
example. So it depends on what type of voice we're singing about, talking about. You have Teddy Swims, who has a great voice today, but that's a completely different type of voice. So for me, usually when it's voices that I'm thinking about, it's voices that I can try to duplicate and
Yes.
sing as or being inspired by. So it's more towards that direction in that case. So I would say that those are some of the. I'm not that type of person who maybe, although I love listening to R&B as well, but it's not the great R&B voices who are the inspiration for me. It's more about the rock voices and the pop voices who I get inspired by.
Yeah, I agree with you. Sometimes it's not like the most popular ones, but there are some underground singers that are like very good.
Yeah.
So I get it.
Yeah.
So
I mean, something. Tess and I were a part of producing a show in Sweden, where we had a bunch of young people who were auditioning and singing. And I mean, what you don't realize is that there's so much talent out there with young voices who can sing. But there is something I actually have discovered, a little problem that sometimes arises, and that's when people start singing on YouTube and they learn just a snippet of a song and they sing it to perfection. And what you realize, it's to become a great singer, it's not just about singing the chorus amazingly, but learning even how to sing the boring parts of the song in a good way.
yeah.
Which so it was Alexander said something to me, was like a good artist knows what she or he is good at, but a great artist knows what he or she is not that good at.
Exactly.
And that's something I've tried to think about, is like, what is it that separates me as an artist, and what is it that I can do that's really good, and what should I avoid doing? It's like, just because you can sing this song, great, but can you sing it in a way that moves people? If not, then avoid doing it.
What about dancing? Do you think you're good at it? That you can combine both things, dancing and singing?
Well, you should ask Tess about that, from who is doing the choreography. I mean, here's the thing. I can move, but I'm not a dancer. So I can do basic choreography, but I wouldn't say that I'm not a person that has gone into dance school and has that, because if you really want to be a dancer professionally and really do it in a good way, you need to have those basic types of knowledge that I do not have. So I can move, but I'm not a dancer, is my answer.
Oh, okay. Because I don't remember seeing you dancing in your videos. So
no, I mean BVO wasn't the type of band that did it. I'm doing it more with Tess now.
Oh, okay. Well, now it's time to experience that
exactly
that area. What did you think about the how you call it in English? I'm sorry. The dressing that you had to use in BWO.
Yeah.
Like, I know Alexander was known for always wearing, the high socks and the shorts. He was always very particular when it comes to his looks. What did you think about it?
You realize that it's extremely important to stand out in what you're wearing. So that was something that really defined us, and it's so important to be very, very deliberate and have a very strong idea on what you want to do when you're standing on stage, or if you're doing a video or a photo shoot. Just standing in jeans and a white t-shirt, you can do it, but you have to know exactly why you should do it.
But you were comfortable with what you were wearing?
Yes, I was. if you would have asked me that question, a year before I did it, I wouldn't have been. But once you came into it and you started understanding why you should do it and the context behind it, and you saw all the references, then you said, of course, because um, when you're standing on stage and when you're performing, you go into a role. You're not the same type of person you are as the person that I'm doing this interview with right now, or the person that's at home. If you're supposed to act the way you should act, if you want to do a good performance, then you have to enter a role. And if you're not going into a role, then you're kind of crazy, considering how you should behave if you're supposed to behave in a way that's interesting. And when you go into that role, you need to have your stage outfit, because your stage outfit in a way is your costume.
It's like an actor.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
You cannot
What
be
is the role? Exactly. Where you're sort of playing the psychopathic villain who actually thinks that they are the center of the universe. Because if you don't think you are the center of the universe, then you're standing on stage and you're not completely embracing that part. You need to feel that you are the center of the universe when you're standing on stage, a humble center of the universe, but still you need to have that confidence if you're supposed to do something that moves people.
And obviously stand with what the group, in this case BWO, was saying. Like, this is our type of look. This is what we have to express when we are in concert or in our videos. But I'm guessing Alexander is not wearing those high socks all the time, right?
No, believe me, he is not doing so. And I also think that, like, if you look at some artists today, I mean, Stephanie Germanotta, Lady Gaga is definitely a role that she is playing when she's on stage. Chappelle Rowan as well. I mean, she basically has a drag personality. And I think that if you're standing on stage and you have that alter ego, it makes it so much easier to put that alter ego on and just take it into crazy directions, which makes you interesting as an artist.
Yes.
Standing on stage and being yourself is quite boring, actually.
Yeah, exactly. You have to, experience with all other outfits, other things, that you can always feel like fresh and
exactly
not being the same. That's what called my attention with Tess the day I interviewed her. She was leaving the studio. She was wearing, just pants and a sweatshirt. And for me, seeing her always in the videos was like she was always so glamorous, with the big hair, the outfits, and she looks so different. So that's exactly what you mean, that you have to be someone else when you are.
Yeah, it has happened sometimes that, like, we're having a gig and we're going there and they have no idea who we are because we look so different from what you see on pictures and stuff like that. So
I get it. Yeah, and my final question, this one is the ones that always tell me, oh, why you ask me this, it's so difficult. If you're going to be alone in an island and you can only carry with you 5 albums, which 5 albums would you take?
Okay.
I knew it was going to be difficult.
Yes. So this is before the Spotify age.
Well, no, I mean, it doesn't matter if it's Spotify, but they are telling you can only take 5.
Well, then I would choose Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. I mean, the Sgt. Pepper's album from Beatles. I would choose A Night at the Opera with Queen. Dark Side of the Moon is an amazing album. Like the greatest hits from ABBA, because I think for like a compilation, and then maybe, well, what more would I say? I would say, you know what? I would say, Use Your Illusion 1 from Guns N' Roses, actually, which was a very, I think that's a very interesting album.
I love your
where
choices.
yeah.
Not pop.
I mean, the thing is that um, if you love pop music and if you work with pop music, what you discover is that genres become irrelevant for you.
Hmm.
You're interested in the song, in how it's done, how it's portrayed, the lyrics. I mean, I love country music mainly because of the melodies and the lyrics.
Hmm.
Because
Hmm.
if you want to become a really good lyricist working with music, anyone who has written really good pop songs, especially like the lyrics, and you ask them, okay, how should I become good at writing song lyrics? Everyone will give you the same answer: listen to country music. So, or if you want to become a really good singer, especially a male vocal singer, listen to certain types of rock artists and work on the twang. So my point is that the more I listen to music, the less the genre becomes relevant for me.
Wow. The greatest advice is from Martin Rolinski himself. So that's great. Well, no, those are great advices. I would never
Yeah.
consider that. But yeah, you're totally right. Well, I just want to say thank you, Martin, once again, for being here,
Thank you,
for giving
Mariel.
me the time to talk and to reminisce about your amazing career. We cannot wait for all the things that 2025 is going to bring to you and to BWO and with Tess and everything you are up to. I wish you all the best of luck. Um, and I hope we can do this again sometime soon.
Likewise, it would be great. Hopefully, we could see each other in person. Maybe having something fun going on in Mexico. That would be great.
Yeah, I
So,
already told you when it's good to go, when it's good to come here.
yes,
So
exactly. So maybe in 2025 or 2026, that would be lovely. And a shout out to everyone watching this. It's been an honor. Thank you very much. Looking forward to seeing you soon, Mariel.
yes, thank you. Please don't leave. Everybody watching, thanks for being here. And if you are watching us after this live, well, thanks for being here once again. Please subscribe, give me a big thumbs up, and I will see you next time. Thank you, everybody, and thanks, Martin.
Bye.